I'm in. Got it. Go.
Awesome. So 2 things I want to cover from the broker standpoint. One is we've gotten some questions regarding some people who were wanting to file unemployment with everything that's going on. When you do that, you can't file it with Keller Williams as your employer, right? Because they're technically not as an independent contractor. So what happens is if you do that, then it gets sent to our office, and as soon as we say yes, they are here as a 1099 contractor, then it basically gets kicked back and denied. So it's just going to delay the process. We are keeping an eye on it. We've set up the portal, so if you have done that and we get that notice, we can answer it right away so you can then go back. But what you want to do is when you file it, if this is something that you're looking to do, you just need to do it with yourself as your employer because you're self-employed in 1099. And we'll send out a reminder on that as well. So just a little housekeeping. Second thing, as a reminder, May 1 starts the, whatever they're calling the rule with the coming soon. So any listings that you sign after May 1 have to go into the MLS within 48 hours. So there is not, there is no coming soon module on the MLS. They've pumped the brakes on that, which is not fantastic news. So if you do, however, if you are going to be doing any sort of helping the seller and preparations and photography and that sort of thing, you can post-date your listing agreement, and you can have that the house won't be marketed until a later date, but you cannot do any public marketing. The moment you do any sort of public marketing, which includes the local Charleston Facebook realtor Facebook page, as soon as you do any sort of public marketing from that to a sign, you have to have it in the MLS within 48 hours. And that starts May 1.
Okay. Hey, Joseph, can I ask
Yes.
a quick question about that?
Yep.
So if I sign a listing contract today, but it wasn't going to go on the MLS until next Friday, would I just go ahead and sign it for today, but then have it post dated for next Friday and just not do any marketing until then?
You can still you can market it up until May 1. This doesn't start until May 1. So if you wanted to, the best thing, if you wanted to do some pre-marketing and have a sign in the yard, the best thing to do would be to have a listing agreement, and then in the last page in the stipulations, you just put that it will not go live into the MLS until whatever that is, April 24th.
Okay, perfect. And what about after May 1st? Could we still have the stipulation as long as we're not marketing it, or it has to go as soon as the listing agreement is signed?
As long as you're not marketing it, there can be a delay of you signing the listing and it going active. You just cannot do any
gotcha.
pre-marketing and have it shown or anything like that.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. So that's my joyous news for the day. I come bearing with joy and mirth. So that's all I got.
All you got?
That's all I got. Cool. Nothing like starting your day with unemployment and coming soon rules. It's great.
So I was going to go into the next thing, but let's just get some actual fun in here since that was unemployment, boo. Okay, so Adrienne, I've created 2 different virtual backgrounds for Adrienne. And so she's going to put up the one that announces, because if you didn't know, our awesome productivity coach, Adrienne Broom, is expecting a new bundle of joy. And so she found out, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday. It was supposed to be Wednesday, but we found out Tuesday. It's been killing me.
So she has been excited to tell everyone, and so we're going to let her do that now.
Okay.
Oh boy, the anticipation is killing
so
me.
Exciting.
I hit the wrong background.
Hey, it's a boy. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm surrounded.
You got a boy household, that's for sure. Well, that's exciting. And Adrienne, when are you due?
That's
October 26th.
It's going to be at my twin birthday. October
Halloween, baby.
The best day. Cool. Congratulations.
Yes, boy, Mom Jay. And while I'm up here, I just want to give a quick shout out to Greg. Because of what his scheduled topic was, which was lead generation, it really coincided with where we were in the Ignite Elemental. So we actually ended Ignite an hour early today to switch over to Greg's training, and it was amazing. my entire Ignite class got on there for the most part, and I think everybody got a huge amount of value. And I just want to say thank you, Greg, for letting us do that, and that was amazing.
That's awesome.
And I appreciate you letting me do that. I do. I really do. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Cool.
Way to go.
Awesome.
Right as
All
we're
right.
Flanagan.
So that's awesome. Congratulations, Adrian. We're super happy for you. The next thing we got is Bold. Vince, you want to talk about that? You want me to talk about that?
You can start to talk about it. I'm going to pull up the email here about Bold so that I can speak educated on it.
Cool. So Bold is coming in May, and we have, I think the country has over 20,000 registrations, or they're pushing 20,000 at this point. It's going to be all virtual. It's going to be 2 days a week in May from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. 8 coaches are going to be leading that on those 2 days of coaching in the classroom, and then there's going to be 2 other days where you can have one-on-one time with coaches in like a coaching corner. It might not actually be one-on-one, but it's like virtual, go in and out with what you have, as well as a Facebook group that lets you ask questions, and all 59 coaches are going to be on there monitoring that, I believe 5-6 days a week. So as you have questions, it's all going to be around focus on calls in this season. So they're even taking 2.0, and they're taking the parts that matter and are relevant to this world. They've also cut the cost from $799 to $99. So an incredible steal, and it gets done in 4 weeks, so it's half the time. So just really awesome. I think we have about 8 or 9 people signed up so far, and looking to get more and more people signed up through that. So we're going to send out that link again. Vince, what else do you have to add?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome, everybody knows about me and perspective, right? I'm so big on perspective. And I think one of the really cool things that we get from Bold Pivot is that we're going to get the perspective of a ton of different coaches. So we're no longer going to have one coach for all of Charleston, right? We're going to have 50 coaches, and the perspective of 50 different people that have been top coaches and top agents in real estate across the country, kind of sharing their perspective and what has made them successful. So I think that's and for $99, I mean, you close one deal from Bold and from the activities that you generate in Bold, your ROI is, my goodness gracious, 10 times. I mean, it's to me, it's an awesome opportunity, and not to mention you get to do it right from your home, and you still get that collaboration and the accountability of Bold because of how they're doing it with breakout rooms and things of that nature. So this is something that is a great opportunity for us to dial into, especially given the fact that it's all about motion and it's all about action right now.
Yeah, and to answer your question, Greg, it's 2 hours of content 2 days a week. So I think it's Tuesday, Thursday.
I pulled up the schedule right here. I'll tell you.
It's Tuesday, Thursday are the classes, and then Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen real quick.
And it's in the afternoon, so it's not like during your lead gen time, so you can still have all that. It's just in the evenings for you to participate. Perfect.
So, yeah, it looks like so that's the other cool thing about this, like Tiffany was mentioning, it's 2 days a week of content, but then you have the opportunity to dive into these sessions with the coaches where instead of, and for those of you that have taken Bold in the past, you had if you got there early at 7:30, you had a half-hour coaching session with the coach, right? And that was a half hour once a week. Now you get 2 hours twice a week. It's like, it's kind of a cool way that they're really adapting and pivoting this course so that you get that mind and that perspective at a higher level. Not to mention that I think they're going to have a bunch of people in there, and you have access to a Facebook group, some other things that they're throwing in there to continue to bring value. But again, it's only $99, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I will be taking it as well. And Joseph, I think you mentioned you were potentially going to take it as well, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
So definitely get in there. It's going to be a great opportunity. We can share this schedule out. I've sent
it out in several emails, and we'll send it out again with the one after this.
Cool. I'll stop sharing. I'm getting techie. I tell you, I'm impressed. Cool. So that's Bold. What else do we have?
That's all I got for announcements, and then it's going to be introducing your friends.
Awesome. So we have an exciting announcement. We have been in conversation for, for a couple of months with a couple of awesome people. Tim Loss and Matt Mears. They are loan officers with CMG. And we're going to let them tell a little bit more about them. But we are getting into partnership with them for a couple of different reasons. One of them being the fact that they're an amazing resource. And let me make no mistake about it. This is in no way, shape, or form a reflection of Ellen and our partnership with Ellen and Movement Mortgage. They have been an amazing partner for us over the last few years, and still to this day is a great partnership for us. We saw this as an opportunity to continue to bring more perspective, again, just like I mentioned with Bold Pivot, more perspective, more great minds into our building and into our kind of environment so that we can all get better. So without further ado, Matt and Tim, why don't you tell a little bit about who you are and CMG?
Sure. Tim,
and welcome to the family.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, glad to be here. And just so you guys know, my face really isn't this round. It's the camera. It truly does. It truly does add 100 pounds. Well, no, yeah, thank you all. We're excited to partner with you. CMG is a company that's, it's been a blessing for us. A lot of the biggest question we always get, Tim and I, is, why we work together. And, I think it's kind of self-explanatory. Everyone needs someone to push themselves. And, having Tim has been great for me as far as helping, kind of propel me. And, we ended up at CMG because CMG is a great company. You've probably heard of all the lending changes here in the last couple of weeks. We haven't actually made any changes. Our credit score guidelines are the same. We're a lot of rescue. We do a lot of rescue loans now for other mortgage companies. So, we've got the general product suite as far as FHA, VA, USDA. And Tim can talk a little bit more about some of our crowdsourcing down payment programs, our first-time home buyer programs. But, again, we've been around for a while. I've personally been lending for about 20 years, and I think Tim's about the same.
Wow, Tim, that's awesome. Yeah, Tim. And we do, real quick, we have a question from Greg. He says, what's a rescue loan? Just if you don't mind answering that question.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Yeah, it's just rescue loans or when other lenders, again, the guideline changes are pretty recent. So there's other folks in process with different mortgage companies where they went from a credit score requirement of a 580 to a 680, overnight. And then those folks have got to find a home. So we're taking those loans on. We're able to close them pretty quickly. It's taken about 2 weeks or so from start to finish.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tim,
for sure.
Introduce yourself. Tim.
How you doing, guys? Tim Loss. I like long walks on the beach. My favorite. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I've been in the business, fairly a long time. This is really a cool opportunity. Part of, my personal growth is to, reach out more and to help more people, and not so much clients, but, the people that I work with day in and day out, such as my realtor partners. So I think I have a lot of value to offer in terms of just, I think it's really important to me in this situation, that this is kind of, I guess, awkward to say that, that we're coming on board here and we're working with people that really don't know us or don't know me. And I just want to be more of just a resource, and again, I'm here to help anything that you need, but I know that a lot of people have relationships. And so I've worked in partnerships with other real estate companies in the past, and it's always been somewhat of an awkward thing. But for me, I just, if people have questions, whether you work with me or not, I want to be a resource for you to help you get things done, whether it's through us, whether it's through another lender. I think that, that's just something that I wanted to share.
Yeah, I love that. And I think in all of our conversations that we've all had over the last couple of months, I think that was always the resounding point that we all came to was, look, we're just trying to continue to be resources for everybody. And I think the leadership talks about it a lot. We're just a resource, right? We're continuing to connect you with resources. And that was our idea. I think Tim and Matt are amazing resources in that space. So with that, tell us a little bit about, and this is kind of putting you on the spot because we really didn't rehearse any of this. So,
Great.
which is kind of our MO, right? So
Yes.
talk to us about like what, I know this is a crazy loaded question, but talk to us about what you guys have seen over the last month and what you guys have been doing to help agents specifically and clients through these really crazy, uncertain times. Because I mean, things are changing every day. We just talked about the unemployment loans, and you look at the unemployment numbers. You also think about the PPP and the EIDL loans. Those have changed dramatically even over the last couple of weeks. And heck, Synovus ran out of money the other day. So like, what does all that look like for you guys in that space?
Timmy, you want to go? Go ahead, Timmy. You look
What was
so
the question again? No.
You look
What's
so
that, Mike?
professional and cute in that little sweatshirt. Want to hold you.
It was 43 degrees earlier.
Yeah. No, I mean, for the most part, I mean, the nice thing about our company, Vince, I mean, we've been planning for this for a decade. I know personally I have been as well. I mean, these sort of events seem to happen in 10-year cycles. 10 years ago it was the housing market. Now it's the virus, the 80s savings and loans. So, as a company, we've prepared for this, which is why our guidelines haven't changed. We knew this was coming down the pipe. We've always kind of set our business up to be ready to pivot when we need to pivot. So, and it goes all the way through our process. And Tim is very process oriented. He can talk a little bit more about his process. But, we've set up our loan process with the appraisal panel of the folks. We have 6 or 7 appraisers that we've worked with for 15 years. Those folks are our first part of the loan process, and they're critical because, right now, like you mentioned, mortgage companies are scared. They're making poor decisions. They're using appraisers that aren't experienced. And the last thing we want is someone to go out and appraise a property for $20,000 less because they said the market is declining because of the virus. And that's a true story that actually happened with one of my loans. So that aspect of it, to answer your question, I guess as a whole, we don't really have to pivot a whole lot right now. We were prepared for this. We have the right people in place. We have the right process. Tim does a good job. You want to talk about how you follow up with your clients every week and you check in with them as far as what they need?
Sure. I just see your face, Matt, and I just, I want to squeeze your cheeks.
I know. The cheeks are big.
Yeah. So, I mean, the process, I don't know, kind of even to go back, Vince, on, what are we doing with other agents and so forth. And, the conversations that I'm having right now and what I'm hearing on the street is that a lot of people just are afraid to do anything, and a lot of people are just sitting back using this as an excuse not to work. They're afraid that people don't want to buy, and they're afraid that people don't want to sell. So they're afraid of rejection and afraid of hearing no. And it's actually, so I hear that, and that's sad to hear. And then I have the conversation that they need to be doing something, whether it's working on their business, whether it's, what are they doing to make a difference in their database and the people that they, their past clients. And so there's so much opportunity out there, but, it's a little bit mixed across the board on the people that are wanting to work and people that are afraid to work. So it's, my message is you got to go do something. You're either gonna write a check or you're gonna cash a check. Which one are you? So
I like that. That's good. I think Vince said that. Yeah. Well, and too, Vince, I think what's really great about kind of what's going on right now is it's just such an awesome opportunity for all of us, and I think that's why we're excited about the partnership. We want to work with people similar to us and that get it. And so we just. The market on our end is pretty settled. The Fed stepped in, interest rates have settled down. We're going to be in the low 3s for probably the remainder of the year. So, it's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. As far as advising clients, we're not going to have every program out there. So if you guys have referrals that, aren't going to fit our box, it doesn't end with us. We're going to try to find a fit for them. So I just tell everyone, try to stay out of the doom and gloom. It's actually an amazing opportunity to gain market share right now, and that's what Tim and I are focused on. And we're there to help you all if you have questions, even if we're not doing a loan. We're happy to help.
Yeah. Well, What would you guys say? Because that's great advice. What would you guys say differentiates kind of your process and who you guys are from the masses?
Sure. So, a lot of it just boils down to, overlays, from a whole. A lot of people aren't familiar with the loan process, but it's never been easier to get a mortgage right now. And that's the thing that the consumers don't understand. They go into this process with a lot of fear, but believe it or not, for like a conventional loan right now, just for an approval for a W-2 borrower, all you need is a pay stub, a W-2, their most recent 2 bank statements, and that's it. Freaking crazy. I mean, I can't believe we get paid to do that. You know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like I won the lottery. I'm like, that's all we need? Yeah. So, again, there's other, there's obviously more complex files than that, but what sets us apart is just following those guidelines. We use day one certainty. So Fannie Mae has a system for folks that work here locally for Boeing, Benefit Focus. All those companies verify their employment through the work number. So when we have a conventional loan, we can actually pull their employment verification online, and we can get day one final approval. So like I've got a client right now that works for Benefit Focus, and I just did her pre-approval, and I have day one certainty. Basically, I have final loan approval on her income before she found a house. So that's really what sets us apart, because a lot of our competitors are creating guidelines on top of guidelines. So, it starts as simple as, hey, we need, 30 days of pay stubs, 2 years of W-2s, 2 years of tax returns. And when you start building out this list that they're asking the clients for, every one of those items is like Pandora's box. All of a sudden you get the tax returns, and you're like, oh shit, they have a business that they didn't mention. That business loss makes them not qualified, they're denied. So again, like that's what makes us unique, is knowing how to navigate those situations. Tim won't gloat about himself, but Tim's in the top percent. Tim's in the top 10 nationally in our company right now in production. I'm a little bit behind. I'm like top 30, because I'm the schlub of the two. So, but with that said, again, like just knowing how to navigate these situations is so critical right now, especially in this environment. I think the highest praise we've gotten was from a broker in charge of a real estate office. Just said, we went through this in 2008 through 2010, and we got through it together. And the reason why is because of the processes we put in place 12 years ago. So this hasn't changed anything on our end.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great answer. I see, Betsy, you had a question. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and ask it.
Hi, nice to see you both. Nice to meet you. Welcome. If we have clients, as I do right now, who don't have 2 years of a W-2 and they don't have 2 years of a 1099, and they're kind of independent, like a truck driver, and they make their money here and they make their money there, is it worth coming to you to talk about them, or are you strictly, you've got to have the W-2s and the 1099s for the past 2 years? I refuse to use the term think outside of the box.
Sure.
So pretend I didn't say that.
No worries. Tim, do you want to take this one?
Sure. So, at the end of the day, we don't want you pre-qualifying clients, so as I tell everybody, let us sort it out. Let us figure it out. If they can't buy now, we'll tell you. If we can tell you when they'll be able to fund and close, that's what we're going to do, is we're going to set all of your clients up, so ultimately it's my expectation with myself and my team is to set a closing date for every single lead that I get, whether it's this week, next month, a year from now, or whatever the case is. So, we have a system in place to make sure that we track and follow our clients, forever. So, with that, it just really depends on a situation. And my advice to you would just to, have them speak with, Matt or myself and let us figure it out for you, and then, let you run with it.
So you're open to all?
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want you to have to worry about this part of the puzzle. We want you to be, focused on sales and doing what you need to do. That's how you make your money. And so we want you to spend your time doing that, less time dealing with loan stuff.
And Betsy, that's why I mentioned earlier, it doesn't end with us. If there's a product out there that's a better suit, better suited for your client with a different mortgage company, then we're going to go ahead and tell you that. It's it's a team effort. And at the end of the day, whether they close with us or whether they close with someone else, it doesn't matter. It still has to close.
Yeah, I love that.
Gentlemen,
Does anybody? I'm going to open it up for questions. Does anybody have any questions of Matt and Tim? Feel free to ask them now. Or anybody want to say something?
You want to hold hands?
Yes, of course we do.
I don't.
It fit
I don't
right
have-
in with the KW West Ashley culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask really quickly, if it's okay, if you guys maybe had any like marketing brochures or anything that you could maybe send our way,
Yeah.
so we could send
Yeah,
to
for
some
sure.
of our clients.
And one of the things Matt talked about, we have a couple of very unique programs. So we have a crowdfunding program. This crowdfunding program, it's called Home Fund It, kind of like GoFundMe, but what it does is it allows the consumer, the person buying the house, to get down payment money from anybody. And so where one of the challenges that, we deal with within our industry is that people have money coming in and we can't document it. And this is for conventional financing only, but this Home Fund It program allows the consumer to be able to get down payment money from anybody. And for every dollar that they get put into that account, we'll give them $2 up to $1,500. So if the customer gets $750 put into the Home Funded account, we'll give him $1,500. And right there is money that can be used towards the down payment. So, that's pretty. That's what, $2,750. Is that right? Did I do the right math?
Yeah,
No.
ballpark.
Whatever. Whatever.
Almost.
But that's money towards the down payment, right? So that's a really cool program. Then we have another program, Borrow Smart program, and with this program, they have to take a class. Both of these programs, they have to take a class prior to getting under contract. But with the Borrow Smart program, they take a class, they get $1,000, or based off of their income. If it's under 62,000 and change, I think it's $1,000, and then anything over that. So it's more geared towards our first-time home buyers and so forth, and trying to figure things out. Right now, I have a client that, we're getting a cosigner. We have to get, in order to make the income work. Well, the cosigner makes enough money to qualify for the loan. I'm taking our client's income out of it, so they now qualify for down payment assistance and some of these free money grant programs to make it work. So, but there's free money out there that that these clients can get that can be used towards the down payment, which is pretty awesome. But we'll send you information on that.
Yeah, there's some questions, Tim, about Home Fund It as well. You want to talk about that real quick?
What are the questions?
Or not that, or I'm sorry, the all-in-one loan.
All-in-one.
Yeah.
What are
Just talk about the program.
So the all-in-one loan, it's not. How can I say this? All right, so it's essentially like a line of credit. Works like a glorified credit card, and you use your house as the bank. So ultimately, you're not leaving stagnant money sitting in your bank account. So, in a lot of cases, the program's not for everybody, but it is for those that don't want to, have stagnant money sitting in their bank account, not doing anything with. And so with the all-in-one loan, it works with your bank account. Money is swept into the line of credit, paying down your mortgage. And as a result, you're going to be paying less interest over, a period of time, so it's, all of your bills are paid through, your mortgage. So you get a debit card and a credit card. And then ultimately, it's just a program that, and I might not be explaining it very well at all right now. And so, but.
Oh, you're great. It's deep.
Tim,
Yeah,
I was
it's a
looking
very.
at it. Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, I was looking at it as a realtor, as like a good thing for us as realtors during down times to be able to pay ourselves. And when we get a good chunk of change, be able to pay a lot down.
It's such a great loan for everybody, because ultimately, especially in today's market, let's just say that we went on a situation here where everything is shut down and nobody can get a paycheck. With this program, you have the ability to go without having to make mortgage payments. So ultimately, just like you get charged interest on a monthly basis. Well, that interest is just going to eat up the equity. So it could turn into a negatively amortizing loan, but ultimately, it's for the fiscally responsible people. It's, because there is a lot of situations where people will just continue to outspend their money and the program doesn't work. And so in that case, we're going to refinance them out because they're not using the program the way it needs to be met. But if it's done correctly, you can pay your house off in 5, 6 to 7 years with what we do in a fraction of the time. It's really bananas.
It's probably the best program we have. Yeah, for sure. And it's unique to CMG. And real quickly, just a couple other things that have come up, Vince. We had a couple agents ask me this week if state housing had shut down. No, South Carolina State Housing is still operating. They're still providing down payment assistance. We have to do a verification of employment the day of closing, which makes the process a little exciting, but still up and running. Again, FHA hasn't changed their credit score requirements. Lenders have. So there's just a lot of really crappy information out there right now.
Absolutely. That makes sense. There was I saw another question, and it's a tough one to answer, but how are you handling loans for those laid off right now because of companies that have shut down?
It's kind of case by case. It depends on what industry they're in. For the most part, if they're still getting paid, if they're laid off, they're not getting paid. So, it applies more towards refinances than anything, because if you're laid off during the purchase process, you're kind of SOL. But on a refinance, we'll do, what we're trying to do is just carry the lock forward, whether it's 30 days or 60 days. Most of our refinances right now are locked for 60 days to buy us enough time for like our food and beverage. We've got a couple bartenders in process right now where, we just hope that our lock through June will carry us till they go back to work. But at the end of the day, whether they're furloughed or laid off, I don't think it's going to impact their qualifications once they go back to work. But we do need to verify they're back to work before we can close.
Yep. So essentially, you're doing everything that you can do to continue the process and to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yet there are stipulations that, there are consequences. There are things that are going to happen, but you're locking them. You're doing things like that so you can help.
The file is being completely processed, and we're getting to the point where we're ready to close. In order to close, we need to verify they're back at work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any additional questions? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. I was going to say that the small business loans that are coming through, that's helping quite a bit. So DIG is one of those companies where they just got a small business loan and they've agreed to pay their employees. So if they can open back up and start doing like takeout, then in that situation, we'd be good to go.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. That makes sense.
I have a question. I just have a comment.
Go ahead.
So Matt and Tim are also platinum sponsors for KWYP. And I just want to kind of shout out that they have been at like every meeting. They've just showed up, whether it was to just hang out and, be a fly on the wall and a resource to the KWYP members during our meetings. We can go up and chat to them or have a beer with them or whatever. But also they've given us some really valuable information on the market, just, as a crew. So I guess just to say, like, they have been the most consistent in terms of showing up and adding value to our chapter membership, hands down, more than our other partners. So thank you guys, and I'm glad to have you guys there.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm gonna tell the other people they suck.
Who else? Anybody else have any questions for Matt and Tim?
Just a comment, like Winnie's, I've known Matt for 10 years. We've Tim lost for quite a while. And the reason I use Matt is simply because he closes loans. I know when I call him up and I say, I need this guy pre-approved, he's going to tell me yes or no. There's none of this nonsense of, yeah, he's fine. And then when you get to the closing table, it goes, or you get down to underwriting, it's like, no. What Matt does, and Tim at the same time, they take, it doesn't matter what company they're with, because these are individual people that do this for you. They're professionals. They take your person, they're going to shake him out before they get to underwriting. So when they do get to underwriting, that person is already good. They have the experience, they know what they're talking about, and they're going to put together that package so there's not that many bumps in the road, usually no bumps in the road when they get to the end. And he's done some serious stuff for me over the years that we've had a lot of rough things before it hit underwriting.
For sure.
I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Yeah, I had a fun one. We saved from another lender the other day where the appraiser, or I guess the listing agent was trying to call the attic part of the living space of the house. So the appraiser went up there, and obviously it wasn't complete. So hit them with like a $40,000 cost to cure. So they called me and they're like, hey, can you take this over? I was like, sure. They're like, well, how are you going to make it work? I was like, you're going to lock the attic.
Yeah.
The appraiser went out there and he's like, hey, I couldn't get an attic. I was like, I don't care. It's an attic. You don't need to get in there. It was like, appraisal's fine. Closed 2 days ago. Yep.
Experience.
A lot of times, yeah. A lot of times we get credit for being brilliant, but a lot of times it's just simple stuff. But yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Anybody else? Anybody else? Any other questions or comments for Matt and Tim, our new partners? Which is fun.
I just want to say, I want to thank you guys for joining us. I mean, like Vince said, we've been having conversations for a while, and I sat down and met with Matt. It's a good fit, and it's, I appreciate it. And just to let everyone know, the conversations with Movement have been good too. I mean, this is just another added service, and everyone's on, they really fit into the vision of the collaboration, and we're excited about that. And I love the energy. You guys are bring some good energy, which is good.
We do, yeah. Tim's a little bit of a character.
I've heard. I haven't had a chance to hang out with him too much. But trust me,
I'm actually the reserved one of the two.
You're
which
a
is
straight man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That makes me nervous. Like how y'all left that part out.
Yeah.
It's a true bromance.
A bromance. And we'll absolutely share their contact info. We're gonna send all their contact info out to everybody. They'll probably be reaching out just to introduce themselves and say hello, and offer their resources and just kind of be there for you. Anybody else before we wrap up? This has been fun. So I do want to make a comment. We do have, so last week we had the Reinventing Real Estate Collaborative. It was awesome. We had Molly D'Amatos on there, and there is, we plan on having, I believe, I don't know if it's next week or the week after, but we do have another special guest coming who runs a really big team up in, I don't even know where, North Carolina somewhere. And so he's going to be a guest either next week or the week after. We haven't solidified a date, but I'm really excited about that. But definitely join Wednesdays at 1 p.m. The Reinventing Real Estate Collaborative. It was an awesome time. We had 40-some people on there yesterday, or whatever day it was, Wednesday. So join us on that. We are super excited to have Matt and Tim on board. They're going to be a great addition to the family. Tiffany, do you have something?
Yeah, and I have something once we're done for the day. Are we done?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So before we finish off, we're going to finish with something fun.
So just like we finished all the other ones, we've got birthdays coming next week. I found out another one as I was pre-listening to the call. So we got Weston, whose birthday is tomorrow, Matt, whose birthday is tomorrow, and Olga's birthday is next week. I don't have the exact date, and she's not on this call.
Tomorrow.
And Jay's was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Jay's was a couple days ago. So are we singing? We clapping?
We are going to sing and clap. We're going to do the fast version again and see if it's better than last time.
Can we do the fast version of singing and not the clapping?
Yeah, whatever we have to do to make it. Yeah.
We're going to chase Matt and Tim away.
No.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt and Tim. They're going to fit right into this. Honestly, they're going to love it.
So everyone's unmuted. Well, I tried.
All right, on three.
What?
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, everyone. Happy birthday to you.
Gosh,
way to go. That went better than last time.
We did so good.
Man, way to go. We're getting super excited to have Matt and Tim on board. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you all for having us.
Out. And if anybody else needs anything, give us a call. Thanks for coming.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo.